With the many roles we end up taking in life, different responsibilities, different faces we have to be for different people, we might get caught up with living with a lot of masks, a lot of roles. We can get caught up with wanting to look like we have everything together. And I think there's a desire in everyone to make it seem that we're always on top of our game. We got it all. We're living up to the expectations that we've made for us. We want to show it. Realize how much easier it is to tell someone about a job you've done well than to ask them for help with something that you can't do well. Do we ever feel that about our relationship with God? In the first reading, we hear that God, who is a God of justice, knows no favorites. He cares for each of us as if there's only one. The poor and those in challenging times in their life, the oppressed, we hear seem to believe this more than those who can help themselves. We hear in the second reading St. Paul say how God has stood by him, even if everyone's deserted him. God's love for us doesn't depend on what we do for him, how we look before him. He has loved us first. Can't do anything to earn or buy God's love. It's his gift. Last night we had a wonderful gift here in this parish. We had the baptism of a little boy named Pascal. I want you to realize what a joy that is for community to welcome into this family of faith another Christian, another beloved of God. Right before the baptism, I asked his parents, Jordan and Kimberly, if there's anything little Pascal could ever do to earn their love. They say no, of course not. How much more is it for God the Father, for us? We can't impress God to love us. We'd be only trying to impress ourselves in that case. In the parable today, we see that contrast of one who bases his dealings and his relationships with God based on what he wants to show that he can do. How funny that the prayer the Pharisee prays, he mentions God, but he prays it to himself. Look how well I'm doing. And on the distance, we have the tax collector who simply recognizes that there's nothing he can do to earn God's attention or his love, and pleads for his mercy. If there's one thing we can take from this parable, it's that lesson on humility. Humility we hear so often about. Humility, brothers and sisters, I think is just being as truly simple and honest as we can about this truth. The truth that there is one God, and we're not not Him. It's knowing that in God's presence that we get to be in at all times, that we have to be honest also with ourselves before Him. No pretenses, no masks, no poses. We can see what's outside, but God looks and sees what's in our heart. That's where He looks. It can be so much easier to invite God only in the shining parts of our lives, the good works that we do, where we stand out and above others. But maybe this parable teaches us that it's where we're in our lowest, where we can't even take our eyes from the ground, where we need God's mercy and His help the most, where we need to allow God to be God in our lives, to let God enter into who we really are, to allow Him to enter into where we're not proud of, into our mistakes, to our imperfection, our brokenness, our woundedness, our struggles to live a life of holiness, our struggles with sin, not to cover it up or dress it up or ignore it in front of Him, but to be able to say to God, I need You. Have mercy on me, Lord. If we're truly honest, we can really have nothing to boast for except for the fact that Jesus Christ died for our sins. Jesus Christ died for our sins. God knows us much more than we can ever know ourselves. He knows everything. He knows the deepest, the darkest, the brightest aspects of our lives, those that we show to others and those that we try to hide from everyone and even from ourselves. And He longs to bring His healing, His mercy to us. Could we then have the humility we need to see ourselves as God sees us, beyond appearances, beyond pretensions, beyond what we do, but as we are? Could we have the humility to allow God to be God in our lives? To allow Him to transform us into what He sees as beloved sons and daughters? And could we have the humility to see the same in those around us? I end by the saying by my spiritual director, if we are too full of ourselves, there's too little room for God's grace to work in us, isn't there? Pray that we recognize we are in front of God, that we have the courage, the humility to allow Him to enter where we need Him the most.